Central Washington is incredible. There are rugged Cascade Mountains, dramatic cliffs, and amazing viewpoints. We were starting on our next leg of our 900-mile overland journey in the state when we came up to a gate plastered in closed signs. It's not a great way to start a leg, especially a leg that had been impassable the last time due to lingering snow. We were back to try again after our failures last year, but first, the gate. Upon closer inspection, I saw that the closure had ended just a few days earlier. We were good to go. Our previous few days had been spent on the Olympic Peninsula and in the central Cascades. The east side of the Cascades is much drier, so had less dense tree cover. This gave us great views, especially as we climbed up the first ridgelines of the day.
Well, this is a great spot. Got views in all directions, including over to Mount Rainier over there. It is a little hazy though. I've noticed that it's kind of the mountain range off to our north is a little difficult to see through the haze, so I'm wondering if we're getting some of the smoke from the Canadian fires or if maybe there are some fires popping up around here. It's certainly been hot enough over the last few days. They're going through a heat wave up here at the moment, but still really cool views. Great spot to stop and eat some lunch because I'm getting hungry.
The drive was beautiful. We were enjoying the views even as we dropped down into the valley and started the climb again on the other side. My wife and I were happy to have had the opportunity to come back and try again. We'd obviously missed a fantastic route when we'd skipped this part of the state due to the snow last year. Climbing up a final ridgeline of the day, it was clear that this would not have been an easy route the year before. There were large holes and ruts, and even after weeks of good weather, the area still had mud. It was also clear that someone had come through before us and cleared the trees from the trail. It would have been a lot of work to come through here early in the year. The effort they put in would have been worth it though, because as we exited the tree line, the views were incredible.
Well, this is quite the campsite, and thanks to Sean on Instagram for recommending this one. It's at the end of a ridgeline, which just makes it the perfect viewpoint, and I'm really looking forward to seeing the sunset from up here. I think I'm gonna have to get time-lapse going off in that direction, see it set behind the mountains, because I think that'd be really, really cool. I will say the only downside to this spot is that the mosquitoes are quite relentless, so this is a good opportunity to show off the bug mesh that I've got on the back of the habitat here. This is from Oregon AT, and it was designed for the Habitat and the Atlas, and all the campers that they sell. I also want to give a quick shout out to Cool, the clothing company. They sent me a bunch of clothes for this trip, and I absolutely love them. I've been wearing them pretty much every single day, and I particularly like the pants that I've had on the last few days. They are really, really comfortable and actually fairly tough, which is great for this kind of thing that I'm doing. They didn't have any requirements. I didn't have to mention them at all, but I'm going to because I really, really like those clothes. And I'll put a link to the pants that I like in the description as well. So thanks, Cool. I'm gonna go hide in the habitat now, out of the mosquitoes. One of the most important pieces of equipment on this trip has been our fridge from Iceco, mostly because we use it to keep the milk for our son. We've had this fridge, the VL75 Pro D, for 2 years now, and you can see it's seen some miles on it, but it has been an amazing fridge. And one of the reasons we went with this, one of the main draws are the lids. They are unique. I haven't seen any other like it. You can open it from both sides. So I can open it from the inside like this. I can, watch your fingers, open it through the hatch here, so I can pop open the side, lean in, and open from the other side. Or if I'm loading it or unloading it, I can take the whole lid off, and he really likes that. Another thing that gets a lot of use is this little battery pack. This is magnetic, so it sticks to the side of the fridge. It's 250 watt hours, so it can run the fridge, but I actually use it a lot for the USB outlets that are on the end. This is what was charging my camera last night while I was doing the time lapse. And the reason I'm talking about Iceco so much is because they have their Black Friday sale coming up. It is November 20th through the 27th. They have 20% off everything on their website, and I'll put a link in the description, and if you use my link, it helps me out.
Our first stop of the day was Mount Rainier National Park, but with their new filming rules, they wanted hundreds of dollars to even apply. The reason for the high fees? They're getting too many requests for them to deal with. Rather than relax the requirements, they're charging more. So we skipped filming there and picked it up again as we headed out to a nearby viewpoint.
Well, this is a fantastic spot for seeing Washington's most famous peaks. To the north, obviously, you got Mount Rainier. That one's very obvious. And then off in the distance, over this ridgeline immediately in front of us, is where we camped last night. If I look to the east, that one is Mount Adams. And then somewhere to the point where it doesn't quite show up on my screen, I think it's about there, it's Mount Hood. And then to the south, or southwest, is Mount St. Helens. So now we're going to try and find a place to camp somewhere around here, and I'd love to find a spot with a view. Well, tonight's campsite does not have the fantastic views that last night's campsite had. I've only got Mount Adams just kind of peeking through the trees over there, but I am completely okay with that because it also does not have the mosquitoes that last night's campsite had, because those were horrendous. The entire time we've been here, I have maybe seen one mosquito out of the corner of my eye, I don't know, but it didn't bother me, so I'm happy here.
The next morning, we continued our journey south past Mount St. Helens.
Had to make a quick detour to see Mount St. Helens. We came out here last year over to the other side, to the observatory point, and couldn't see anything because it was so cloudy and just a really dreary day. Today is obviously much nicer, and I've come out to a little spot that is just in the National Forest, so just outside of the Volcanic Monument, the National Volcanic Monument, because I'm not sure if I'm allowed to fly my drone in the National Monument. I found a lot of conflicting information and nothing official, but I know that I'm allowed to fly out here in the National Forest, so I'm going to do it here.
Mount St. Helens is the most active volcano in the Cascades and is famous for its 1980 eruption, which is still the most deadly and destructive volcanic eruption in the US and the largest debris avalanche ever recorded. In the last couple of decades, the volcano has been growing again with the formation of a large lava dome in the crater, and it's thought that future eruptions could be even more violent than the last. From the volcanic monument, we went south, but we didn't make it very far before running into a problem.
Unfortunately, the road behind me, the one that we needed to take, is closed. According to the sign, there's a washout,
But according to a couple of cyclists that just came through, the surface of the road's just been broken a little bit and it's completely passable for two-wheel drive vehicles. The gate, you may notice, is open. That's because a Jeep driver came up about 15 minutes ago, went right up to the gate, pushed it open with their front bumper, sheared the lock off. I don't think they're going to have much luck, because according to the cyclists, at the other end of the road in town, there's another gate. So who knows, maybe the Jeep will just break that one open as well. Either way, we're going to backtrack a long way to go around, and I'll probably put the gate back up as well. Our detour had added a lot of miles to the trip, mostly along washboard gravel roads through the forest, but they took us right past Mount Adams and came out close to the bridge across the Columbia River.
Well, we've made our way back up and around and past Mount Adams, across the Columbia River, all the way down to Mount Hood, where we've found ourselves a nice spot to camp for the night. And actually, we're all really tired, so we've just been up hanging out and relaxing in the habitat. And I think I'm going to go back up there. I've just grabbed my laptop. I've got a lot of work to do. Although, let's be honest, I'm probably just going to sit up there and watch some YouTube.
It is time for us to start the long trip back to Kentucky because we have an Alaska trip coming up that we need to prepare for. We're going to be flying out of Kentucky to Anchorage and renting a vehicle. So we'll have to save the rest of the Cascades for another time. If you enjoyed this video, make sure you subscribe to the channel. Thanks for watching.